the summer of 2013, they pulled me into the office and they said, "Hey, where can we find another one of you?" I said, "Well, just so happens I got a buddy working in Virginia. Uh, he's got a better beard than I could ever grow, but otherwise we're the same thing." They said, "Fantastic, he's hired. Bring him in here for another formal interview. You were already hired, but maybe you should tell maybe you should tell people what they put you through when you came here."
Yeah, so Paul, he called me and asked me if I wanted to interview for this job. I had no idea that I'd already been hired. Uh, so to me, I had to put my best foot forward, and I would have regardless. But yeah, that was pretty news to me later that they had already, I didn't necessarily go to the interview with a pay stub in my pocket like Paul did, but apparently the decision had already been made. So I had to take a day off from work to go interview. I interviewed on my birthday, if I remember correctly, May 3rd. I interviewed on my birthday. It was a Friday, and I drove up to Sparks that morning, and I was asked. I think it was from our former VP, Rudy. Um, he had asked me, or one of you guys had asked me, or maybe you, Paul, whoever, had asked me to kind of put together a presentation about what I do or what I did at my current job or then job, which was I guess my official title at Atlantic Contracting and Materials was plant engineer, which entailed everything from running a loader, sweeping the sweeping the floor in the batch house, making concrete beams, driving a ready mix truck on airport property. I didn't have to have a CDL, so I would drive literally everything. I ran any equipment that we owned. If it could get cranked, I could drive that thing. Um, so they asked me to put together this presentation about basically what I did, and so I put together a presentation about how we prepped a job site for portable plants, how we put up the plants, got material in there, got the plant up and running, ran the plant, and then when we broke down the plant, it was just a big long process with pictures and everything else. And looking back now, I think they just wanted to see how I acted in front of a crowd of people because I was 100% a field guy. Like, I didn't see the inside of things. I didn't. I saw the inside of the batch house when I was batching concrete. I saw the inside of trucks. I saw the inside of equipment. I didn't. I had no office. There was none of that. So I think they knew that I had the field experience and that I knew my way around concrete and everything to do with concrete. They just needed to see if I was just an old field guy that didn't know how to talk to anybody. Luckily for me, I can talk to anybody. And I'll never forget, I was up there doing my presentation, and I know, Dennis, I guess, knew my backstory from whatever Paul had told him or just whatever. He knew I was from the South. I grew up in the country, grew up on a farm, the whole spiel. And I'll never forget, Dennis asked me if I knew if I'd ever eaten squirrel, just like randomly in the middle of my presentation. Dennis just pipes up and out in the back. He goes, "Have you ever eaten squirrel?" And I forget what my answer was. It was some kind of half smart aleck answer that I have for pretty much anything. And he just kind of laughed. And so after the presentation, they passed me around to everybody in that office. Like, I made my rounds through accounting. I made it through Bob Purcell's office. I made it through the logistics team. Everybody interviewed me. Like, I bet you I had a half dozen, almost a dozen mini interviews that day. And then I went to lunch with Dennis and Rudy, and that was it. And then uh, a few weeks later, I was hired. I started the day after Memorial Day in 2013 and had no idea what I was doing. I'd never sold a thing in my entire life, or at least, person to person. I'd sold, cattle or whatever else, but I was as far from a salesman as you could get. And I'd never really traveled that much before I got to AMI. And within the first few weeks of June, they sent my little happy butt to Phoenix. on a on a shotcrete demo where it was 120 degrees all day long, and we started. I remember we started at like 4 in the morning, or 3 or 4, like halfway in the middle of the night, and we stopped and we ended before noon. But it was baptism by fire. Just putting Actigel into concrete. I didn't know anything about Actigel neither, but I just knew concrete. So yeah, it was a wild ride from the get go. Just hit the you woke up day one at AMI and your feet hit the floor running.